All right, I'll call the March 19th DRB meeting to order. Agenda changes? None? All right, if everybody can review the minutes of March 5th.
Pretty long minutes here.
Maybe I should take lessons, huh?
I didn't see anything.
Move to approve.
Short and sweet.
I'll second that.
All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Abstain.
All right. Up next is Tyler Billingsley, revision to a subdivision final plat located at 55 Seaview Road. How you doing?
Good, how are you?
Will we be able to hear him from there?
Can you get a microphone? It's okay.
Yeah, okay. So if you can just
Just explain.
explain
so-
what you want to do?
Yeah, so my property's at 55 CBU Road. It's kind of right on the corner of 116, the northeast corner. And Civil Engineering Associates originally did the subdivision plat. And I think what they did was they pulled my 116 setback from the property line. And the way the rules are written, it should be pulled from the center line. And we're just looking to put a small, like a 16 by 24 shed essentially. Small barn shed to store bikes and kayaks and fishing stuff and that kind of stuff.
Okay.
And the place that makes the most sense is kind of just into that building envelope that should have been, I think, on the original plat. So we're looking to amend the plat to go to what the 116 setback that should be there.
This is, right here is the 80-foot setback that was done to the property line, as opposed to being done to the center line of the roadway. which
So
is being
I hired Barnard and Jarvis, who's the firm here in town, who's got some licensed land surveyors on staff, and they went in and surveyed it and did the research and did the updates for me to show that building envelope, just basically pushing out to the west side by, I think it's only, I don't know, 25 feet or something like that, just big enough to put our shed back. And then the other setback that they looked at was the stream. There's a little tiny intermittent stream there at the southern side, and there's I think it's 75-foot setback on that side. And so they basically just kind of followed the stream bank around to match the 116 setback, and that's all. So the other small piece of it is there was a easement put in, and the rigs who live above us, Andy and Gail, they weren't sure why it was ever put in, but there was a power and communications easement that was put 20 feet wide from an old abandoned pole on 116 across our lot and into their lot, and they bring all their telecom type stuff off the shared pole we have on their driveway side. So I talked to Andy and Gail, and they signed off on an easement to basically just trim that down to 10 feet instead of 20 feet. So if they ever did drop a new pole in there, or I don't know, need it for some reason, they still have 10 feet to run a little conduit or whatever they'd run through there.
Okay.
But they didn't even want it. so we just they had Barnard and Jarvis trim that down to 10 feet, and that's the gist of it.
Well, in this particular area here is just for accessory structures.
Yeah, this would just be an accessory structure. I think it's 500 and something square feet. It's not very big, so.
This is a general question. I mean, is it actually a setback from the center line of 116, or that's just the right of way that you have to be aware that they may co-opt at some time in the future?
The setback for these zoning districts are measured from the center line of the road.
The zoning setback.
Yeah.
It
The
causes-
front yard setback is measured from the center line of the road. It basically takes out how big the right-of-way ends up being. You just measure it from the center of that right-of-way or the road, whichever happens to be closer.
I think the property
Yeah,
line
but,
is the edge of the right of way.
Yes.
That property line right there
Mhm.
is the edge of
So,
the right of way.
I had a question that was related to Dick's, is that we are aware of the widening that's going to be happening on 116. We're talking about a couple feet maybe. Are they taking any right-of-way from you?
Most of the stuff the extra lane essentially they're adding is all to the west side, the side where the bank and the dentist office are. So on our side, they're doing a little extra ditch work, and they're dropping a new culvert in there for the stream. But in terms of widening lanes and that kind of stuff to our side, they weren't. They had some temporary construction easement just to tear some brush out, but they didn't have any permanent right of way to widen their. I think it's a 4 or 5 rod road now. I don't think they were planning on widening it, and they just sent us some updated plans last Thursday or Friday maybe.
Yeah.
So we should still be well and clear of all that work they're doing.
No deck off your shed, right, toward the stream buffer?
No deck. It's not gonna be that fancy of a, there's no extra apartment or
Three-story shed.
yeah,
with a
three-story
living
shed
apartment
with
on the top
a
floor.
rooftop deck on it and a hot tub and yeah, no, none of that. It'll be we'll have some lights for it on the inside and power to it, but not a living space or no fancy deck toward 116. I'm not sure you'd want to have a deck on the 116 side even if you could put it there.
Let's see. I don't remember so how wooded is it between, like, the shed and 116? Is that?
There's
trees.
yeah, there's a handful of dead scrappy trees. There was a handful of old pines that Andy and Gail had the Christmas tree farm. There was 2 or 3 of them left that are kind of covered in vines and dead anyway. And it kind of gets more vegetated as you get more on the southern part of the property, kind of in that stream buffer essentially is more wooded, but up near that part, and that makes it look like there's more than there is there, but
And this is an old picture.
yeah,
so-
that's an old picture. Yeah, we're not really touching any of that vegetation around the stream there. It's all, our house is kind of pushed almost that field section above those 3
Actually, it's
trees.
more, if I'm not mistaken here, it's more, the house is actually up in this area.
Yeah, we pushed the house as close to the northern part as we could. It's staying in the building envelope, so we're in the way north part of that.
We have a draft decision. Board members have any other
Actually-
questions?
Just mention, public.
I don't see any.
Okay. I just had
Could have an interest
I don't see a need for this application.
I'm not here to object to Tyler's stuff.
Whose property is the statue on?
The statue?
Yeah.
What statue?
Well, I just discovered a couple of years ago, you drive up 116 and there's the monument. It looks like a sculpture. And it's engraved actually, isn't it? So
Oh, the
must not be yours.
gravestone, you mean?
Oh, the gravestone there?
No, it's not.
That's way further north. That's
Gravestone, is it?
That's just before the red barn?
What's the red barn?
the
The
masonry.
garage?
Oh, no, it's way before that. You're going up the hill.
That's my land. I don't think there's any statue on it.
My wife will confirm I'm not hallucinating. We both noticed it. a couple
It's
years ago.
like a stone statue?
Yeah, it's right, it's probably 15 feet in, and it looked like it just got cleared, and,
Almost right at the crest of the hill, isn't it?
yeah,
The high point?
so you agree it's there?
I do.
But way past this place though, right?
Yeah.
It's not your place. What are you looking at me for?
In number 6, take out the D on proposed, and the revision does not, you have proposed, it should say just proposed.
The revision does not propose.
Yeah.
Okay.
Did you move to approve?
No, not yet, but
Any other,
I was going to.
Okay.
is that the only one?
Yeah, that's
The
it.
board members
I
have
have
any other
nothing else.
questions?
I know. All set.
I'll make a motion to approve the draft as amended.
Second.
And close the public hearing, sorry.
Greg seconds that.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, Gordon.
Get
Thank
building,
you.
yeah, get building.
I can stay and support you if you want any more support.
I don't need any more.
Somebody from the public.
Let's see. Should I put this up, or what do you want me to put up?
Oh. Yeah, I guess, so the last meeting, we went through the sketch plan, we went through the, doing the footprint lots. And since then, we got this surveyed out and drew in the footprint lots. I think it was Jonathan mentioned doing them as a rectangle, which my engineer said the same thing, so. In case it changes slightly later, but, you know, they got the, instead of following exact footprint, it's a little bit wider, 2 feet on each end, that's what they normally do, so. So it's all surveyed out, and actually,
Actually, it'd be good to show, from what you're talking about, it'd probably be good to show this particular plan.
oh, okay. So the 7 that are already constructed over there on the town side of it, those are exact, and I know they went out and surveyed them to make sure exactly where they were. So, and, you know, part of the DRB decision before is they're supposed to be exactly where they are before we build anything, you know, before we even put the,
Yeah.
which Tyler was the one that the town hired to go out and verify that. So it was already verified once, but I had to pay the surveyors to come out and survey it again, of course. So that one's all right where it is. These others are projected, but they're also supposed to be right there.
So the dotted lines around the buildings are the footprint lots.
Yeah. I can't see the dotted lines, but I'm assuming
They're
they're there.
there.
I can make this bigger if you want.
Yeah, I don't know. No need to.
So I didn't see any legal documents. I assume your attorney either has changed whatever needed to be changed or determined
I thought he-
that
didn't we-
nothing
Yeah,
needed to be
there is
changed.
the 40-plus page declaration.
Well, I missed that when I went through it.
And I,
And there it is.
yeah, he changed the wording in that to footprint lots. Draft only, but once you guys approve it,
Yeah,
get it filed.
What was it, 4? Yeah, it was over,
So the long and short of it is your attorney went over and revised the documents as
Yes.
we ordered.
Yes.
Okay.
if you want to use this,
Maybe, I don't know.
I'm just trying
It's
to
highly
see.
technical.
Yeah, below the surface within the footprint lot boundary, which is what you have over here.
Yeah. I guess that's legal terms for it. Was there, I thought there was like a sample deed too, or no? No, maybe not. Maybe this was it. Each one would have their own separate deed. So there was, I don't know if there's more questions about that part of it.
I don't think so.
So the second
Yeah,
thing
it
was
was- Yeah, I just made a note that on 27, coming all the way down here, it probably would be a good idea just to mention the town does have lighting.
27.3?
Yeah. Might be good just simply to make a note of the fact that the town does have some lighting specifications or lighting regulations. Just a suggestion on that.
I'm curious what you mean, the downcast lighting on the outside?
Yeah.
And, yeah, they're all downcast. And then
Unless
we
it's
have-
someplace else in the actual, just conformance to the town, town regulations. You have something in this document that basically says, conforming to the overall regulations of the town.
Oh, I don't know. I'd have to read it too then. I'll have to ask him, or read it again. A lot of words there.
Yes, there are.
But the outdoor lighting, I mean, it's to the specifications on
Yeah.
the original.
I mean, we basically specify that
In the original.
in the decision, right? It's, you know, all lighting must be downcast.
So we have, right now, I got the outdoor light pedestals in, they just haven't put the poles up and got cold or whatever, I don't know. Got busy, the electricians, but I just,
We also took care of the way the garage doors.
yeah, the garage door, yeah, we got two things on the garage doors. So we had the thing that we talked about the last time with the
Yeah.
ornamentation on the outside of the garage, and you guys agreed to that. And then the other thing is that I didn't even really think about until I saw the orders of what they were gonna come and check before we get occupancy permit, but what happened is that we had said it's no more than a 7x9 door in the thing, no more than a 7x9 door. Well, they're actually 7 6x9 with about 7 4.5 of it showing, because the framers framed the thing, the architect drew in the framework at 7x9. Made sense, but forgot that the garage floor is that much lower. So in the garage, and it was all sided and framed and, you know, all done. And the garage door guys come and said, this is not a 7x9, you need a 7x6 door, which I didn't even know, I hadn't even noticed it until then, so. So I'm asking to just get a waiver on these two buildings, but not really change the orders, so the remaining units, which, the ones that face 116 and all the rest of them would be 7x9.
So this
she
is one of the
does,
buildings that's affected?
these are only two buildings, there's two buildings there.
As-built units with 4 garages, right?
Yeah, there's a 3-unit garage, or a 3-unit building and a 4-unit, and all 7 of them are.
So 7?
There's 7 garage doors.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I just want a waiver on this. Susan doesn't wanna make that decision by herself, so.
Suzette.
Suzette, sorry.
Yeah, because I'm looking at the concrete, and I was looking for, is the concrete below ground level or something, based on your description? that it
No,
was-
the wall is up here, so they built
The
Yeah.
wood structures,
they built the wall, and
Okay.
then
Oh, wow.
when you get into the back end of the garage, it's like 4 inches down, but it's pitched out slightly. So it
Okay.
ends up being 6 inches down from the top of the wall, but they framed it according to the architect had it wrong on the drawing, really. It
Okay.
just said frame it at 7x9.
I mean, in my mind, the spirit is met. I mean, it wasn't supposed to be a big,
10-foot.
20-foot garage door for
Yeah, that's what-
a dump truck or something, so.
Yeah, and it cost me more money for these garage doors, so I'm not gonna do it again if I
I bet it
can.
did, yeah, special.
Yeah. In between size.
It was last minute order, that's what they got you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess what I was puzzling over is I expected the windows to appear further down from the top, so that's part of what the custom order was, to make sure the windows
Well,
were.
they're 4 panels, and it's whatever size windows fit in that top panel. They're probably a little bit bigger, maybe not, maybe they're,
Okay.
but I still think it's 15% of the surface of the
Okay.
garage doors. It meets that, it's just a little bit higher.
I didn't even know you could get 7.5-foot doors.
I didn't either, I was panicking when he told me they were 7.6, and he said, no, you can order them.
For the right price, sure.
Yeah, a good deal for you.
Okay.
I was just looking through the declaration again, and I don't want to reopen anything old, but Mitch was mentioning just conformance to the town standards. I think that's a wise check of these. But also, I just had a question. I saw that the road was going to remain private, and then the idea of the sidewalk being connected to the town sidewalk, and maintenance of the sidewalk and access to the sidewalk. Is there anything in here that can, right now it only says that the road shall be maintained by the association and it's gonna be a private road. Is there any language in there that can reinforce that the public can maintain use of the sidewalk and that the sidewalk has to be maintained in the association?
I don't know if it's in the association documents, but we discussed it at these meetings, it had to be maintained. I think it's in the order, isn't it?
It may be in an order, I guess. There's nothing in here. I searched for the word sidewalk, for instance, and it's not in
Yeah,
there.
so
So I was
maybe
just asking for
I could
whether
get
that could be
that
considered.
adjusted, I guess, if we got that before we file it. And, maybe Mitch can verify it.
It's a concern that perception of a private owner saying this is our private road,
Yeah.
this is our private space.
Well, I had mentioned to Alex that I kind of thought if everybody can walk down it and walk up Buck Hill Road, that maybe the town could plow at the same time and plow the rest of it. Made sense to me, but
Makes sense to me, too.
I think I'd have to go to the select board to convince them of that.
Now, which one does it section does it say road?
The road, let's see here. Hopefully find it quickly. I'll find it, Mitch.
Okay.
So conclusion number 5,
27.9.
we're all in agreement that it will not affect the architecture of the building?
I agree.
Okay.
I agree.
Mitch, is that something you can add for the sidewalk?
Yeah, I could add, let's see, just seeing where I could add this. It's, waivers on that, actually, wait, in accordance to. Well, actually, I was thinking as far as order 6 approval is, right, the remaining buildings are. I'm trying to think of where did I put, because I thought I put in here a comment about the lighting and change and adding that in the.
But it didn't turn into an order.
All right, we can add an order on that. Should we put an order in that basically requires adding the word, adding sidewalk after road?
Well, they're maintaining they're in essence a right-of-way, but all common area.
All right, or all common, and all common areas. And we could talk about the
27.9, that's,
and the lighting.
yeah, the lighting was close to that. I don't have it handy now.
I think it was 3, if I remember right.
Declarations?
Yeah.
I'm not sure exactly what the purpose of the declaration is, other than, I mean, I thought it was,
Everybody gets one when they buy a condo.
They realize what they're signing up for.
And their deed
Oh.
refers to the declarations, I bet.
Cleaning out
and so we're
stormwater
just
ponds.
we're fearful of tenants putting up their own lights. And we want to make sure they're aware that they need to follow the town standards.
Right, so this is
It already has something
comment on
outdoor lighting section
27.2,
of this- here it says-
27.3.
All lighting should be installed.
I can put just simply a sentence in that one that says, or a comment that basically says, to follow.
Well, in
town-
theory, Dick, this could make the association responsible for enforcing instead of the town.
Yeah, the outside of the buildings is part of the association, so that, as far as lighting, they can't do it without the association agreeing to it, and then all you can say is.
That's in
they
theory,
must
it may not work in
conform to
practice,
Yeah.
but it's one reason
Town
to
standards.
help get the
Lighting.
town
Yeah.
out of the enforcement loop.
Okay.
That's always a losing battle.
So we're going to, do we have to wait for another meeting to review these amendments?
No, I don't think so.
I don't
I
think
think we
so.
can approve
Okay.
as amended, but
Just put
the person that signs
I
it.
think you just put order number 7 and make 8, 9 and say the declaration shall be modified to add sidewalk and what else? Common area?
Actually, you know something? I just saw it here. I actually have it on number 5. Order number 5.
Mm-hmm.
So
So it's,
I thought I had it here. Submitted declaration shall be amended to include conforming with the town lighting requirements, and really we can just add something here as far as, and I'll just mention here 27.3 for the lighting, and on 27.9.
well, it's a question for us how to interpret this, is that it states quite clearly that the association is responsible for all the common areas. Now, roads are, because it's a private road, it's part of the common area. So does that not infer that sidewalks, the green belt, everything is to maintain by the association? So it's maybe less about the maintenance, it was more, maybe to my concern, is that access is maintained to the public on what is a private road.
We could also just simply put in instead of modifying number 5, we could simply say, put another order here, access public access to the sidewalk, or do you want to say?
Well, didn't we deal with this 3 years ago?
Yeah, it's in the deed, it's.
As long as it's located somewhere, that's,
I mean, that was all about, we had extensive conversations about the sidewalk, but it was clearly understood by me, and maybe I'm wrong.
where would that be
Well,
located?
Actually, let's
Well,
take
it's
a
not
look
where
at,
it's located, but it certainly was a public amenity.
right, let's take a look at the,
It's in the deed, I think, where it says,
let's see, 'cause I think we have,
Sorry, Al.
the town has the legal railway through there. They don't wanna maintain it,
That's right,
They
it's,
have it right
the
away.
association's maintaining that sidewalk, but we
but we can walk through it,
don't want to walk through it.
whatever.
I don't see, the language there.
what I put into here,
It's in the, I think if you look, Mitch, in the recorded map in the town, you'll see that there's a strip saying, following that sidewalk all the way in, saying there's a legal right of way on that sidewalk.
yeah.
So it's an easement on the
Easement,
property.
Yeah, easement,
Was it a condition of approval in our
Yes.
original,
yes, it
that,
was.
that be maintained open for the public or whatever, or
Yeah.
accessible to the public?
And I have to finish the sidewalk, go in and come over and go up to 116 so people can walk across the Buck Hill and walk up the road, because there won't be any sidewalk up there for a while.
That in here. Let's reports. I thought I had the old plan into here. I could get that.
Well,
I know it's on the, I know it's on the
Yeah.
map, so.
I think it probably is. And where?
But you can put whatever wording you want in there, because I know it has to be.
we don't need to duplicate things. We don't want to duplicate in risk
Say it
of,
different.
say it differently. That's right.
That's good.
And also all provisions and conditions from the 2015
Mhm.
final plat approval that have not been specifically revised shall remain in force. So,
Okay. Well, if
so this
that's,
may be a moot point. So then again, none of these changes are necessary.
good for Alan.
Yeah, good for you.
So 7, you have to fix the or is not, right? So it's, we take out the or is not.
Right, or is not.
And you also have to, on number 7, say, which have been constructed instead of which have been construction.
Have been constructed.
Yep.
Very good, thank
Mhm.
you.
Board members have any other questions?
Right.
There's nobody here from the public,
No.
so I'll make a motion to approve the draft as amended.
Second.
Close the public hearing. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Good luck.
Okay. Say, guys. Time to get out of here.
All right, well then.
Never know these days. Who's gonna take offense?
We move to other business?
Other business?
Next meeting we've
Good
got.
night.
Good night. Next meeting, we've got a, what was the other one we have? We have a site plan for lighting and, and we have
Accessory stru, or,
a large home occupation hearing on Texas Hill Road. It should be an interesting one.
An expansion to one, or just,
Creating a large home occupation.
okay?
Okay.
How
wants to
big
use
does the home have to
semi-trailers
be to
during mud
qualify as
season on
large?
Texas Hill Road.
Well, it's in this only-
Is it the
Metal to
occupation that's large,
metalworking
or is it
shop.
the home that's large?
I think it's the size.
Heavy load.
It's an accessory structure.
Yeah. Square
It's
feet.
on a 30-acre property. The structure is pretty close to the road, just barely meeting setbacks. And basically, a person wants to move his metalworking business to that structure. Details to follow.
How much shrieking of metal do we have coming out of there?
Well,
Well, we'll talk about it, I bet, yeah.
exactly, exactly.
On April, whatever it is.
April 2nd.
April 2nd, okay.
And we even have something for April 16th, Lori, so
Okay.
Okay.
things are coming in.
Have you heard from Sarah when she was coming back?
I have not heard from Sarah.
Okay.
Move to adjourn?
Move to adjourn.
All right.
Nay.
Aye.
Let's
Hey,
stay here
how
all
are you gonna
night.
stay here for long?